In this video, I want to discuss this question: what app should my teachers, students, and parents use when working with seminaries and institutes? I teach seminary, and I'm a coordinator, and I work with a support specialist to support state-called teachers. A few things are on my mind as I discuss this. Number one, I want to help teachers with the administrative tasks that they're asked to do. I want to reduce the amount of time that they spend doing those tasks so that they can focus on teaching day in and day out like they need to do. Second of all, I want to be able to communicate seminary progress and completion requirements effectively with parents and students so that they can kind of own that. So the main place where all of this information is located is in WISE. WISE stands for Worldwide Institute and Seminary Enrollment. You can see the website there, wise.ldschurch.org. That's where everything is entered and recorded, but they've created some apps that are more user-friendly for different audiences to help them with the goal of tracking these types of things for seminary and institute. There's three main ones that have been available or at least are now available. The first one is called My Class, or it used to be called teacher.ldschurch.org. The second one is myseminary.lds.org, and also LDS Seminaries and Institutes app. I'm going to talk about what these three do individually. So first, it used to be called the Wise Teacher app. It's really a website, not an app. It's a web application, that's why it has that name. You used to find it at teacher.ldschurch.org. You can still find it there, but now it's called myclass.lds.org. Who is this for? This is for the teachers only. And what does it do here? It's simpler to use than the full website of WISE. Teachers can mark attendance and readings directly from their phone. There's some links to the online assessment. They can access parent contact information and contact them easily through the app. One good thing that this is really good at, still better than some of the others, it's adding images to a student profile, and I'll share a video at the end of this as to how it is done through this particular website. It's the easiest way to add a student's picture to their profile. So that is myclass.lds.org. The second one is myseminary.lds.org. Now, who is this for? This is for parents. They can log in and use this. Students as well, and priesthood leaders. So for parents, they can register their students for seminary, check attendance, mark reading, look at assessment scores. They can also see what lessons are coming up, what makeup work needs to be done for absences, contact the teacher if they need to, and to update their own personal contact information as mom and dad. Students can check attendance, mark reading, check assessment scores, see what lessons are coming up and what makeup work needs to be done. And priesthood leaders use this to track seminary registration. So there's two things that this website does that the other tools don't. Number one, it shows the students and parents what lessons are coming up. So if they want to read ahead or see what they're going to be studying in class. And number two, this is the only option for students or parents if they don't have access to a phone or tablet. This can be accessed from any web browser. So Chrome, Firefox, Safari. Anybody with a computer can access this information. You don't need a dedicated phone or tablet. These can be accessed on a phone or a tablet through the browser. So it's, again, not an app, it's a website that students and parents and priesthood leaders can log into. The third one is this LDS Seminaries and Institutes app. If you go to iTunes or Google Play and search this, you will find this application that you can download to your phone. Who is this one for? This is for teachers, for parents, and for students. What does it do? In that it marks attendance, reading, and contacting parents and priesthood leaders. That's what it does for teachers. For parents, they can register their own students, they can check attendance, mark reading, check assessment scores, see what makeup work needs to be done, be able to contact the teacher and update their own contact information and check on graduation progress of their own students. For students, they check attendance, they mark their own reading, check assessment scores, and see what makeup work needs to be done along with their graduation progress. This one also works for institute students. They can check their own attendance and track progress towards those things. Now, a little overview between these three things. So, teachers can access My Class and the LDS Seminaries and Institutes app. My Seminary doesn't help a teacher. Students can access both of these on the right. myseminary.lds.org, and LDS Seminaries and Institutes app. Parents can also access both of these, again, all through their LDS account. Priesthood leaders right now only access My Seminary to help with registration. Now, so which one do I want to communicate with my parents or students to use? I'd love to have any feedback in the chat below of this video, but I'm going to recommend for my students, my teachers, and my parents to download and use this app. Yes, they have to have a dedicated phone or tablet to be able to download it, but it seems to be the simplest interface to use. Now, if they don't have a dedicated phone or tablet, they have to use My Seminary and not necessarily this app. And so myseminary.lds.org is the best place for students and parents, teachers again. Teachers, you need to access my class or this app. So since the majority of people in my audience that I'm thinking about can use this, I'm going to direct them to this. Now, what can I do to help this be a successful experience? Now, so this part is for coordinator, support specialist, seminary principals. What can we do? Number one, we need to help teachers get students using their LDS account usernames and passwords. Support specialists, you can help by providing LDS accounts, usernames that students have already set up that are tied to membership, helping teachers locate that information, and also showing teachers where they can find the MRN in WISE so that they can help with the recovery of that password or the username for those students. We don't want students making new accounts that are not tied to membership. That will just slow things down. Number two, support specialists and coordinators and principals. We need to use the readings tab in WISE effectively. I have a separate complete video about that, but we need to import readings into that reading tab in a way that's easy for students, parents, and teachers to track. Thirdly, support specialists and coordinators and principals, we need to put in information into session details, including what's going to be studied and what makeup work should be done. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to provide a look at this app, LDS Seminaries and Institutes apps, from the view of a teacher, the view of a parent, and the view of a student. And then I'm going to provide a brief look at myseminary.lds.org and myclass.lds.org as to the strengths that they have as apps. So now that I've talked about the differences between these three different tools that we can use, I want to go over this new tool for everyone, for teachers, for parents, for students, this LDS Seminaries and Institutes app. I'm here in the App Store and I have found it. Just search LDS Seminary and Institute. Go ahead and touch Open. It will ask for your LDS account username and password. I've entered mine, and the first thing it's going to ask you to do is put in a passcode. It asks teachers to do this. It does not require parents and students to do this. This is similar to what LDS Tools does. So I'm going to touch OK. Once you've put in your code, it will ask you if you want to enable Touch ID. I'm going to. Once you've logged in completely, it will bring this to you. This says the Complete Education app. So in settings, it allows you to switch roles. I'm going to touch on settings. And here I have teacher, institute, and seminary. A teacher because I teach seminary currently. Seminary has to do with my students that are in seminary. So we'll look at that here in a minute. But first, let's look at what the app looks like as a teacher. So here is the regular page for marking attendance in my seminary class. To mark attendance, you just touch on the circle, touch it again for an absence, touch it a third time for a tardy, and one more time to unmark it. In the top right-hand corner, the three dots, I touch on those, and I have three options: mark all unmarked present, mark all unmarked absent, and message absent students. I'm going to touch mark all unmarked students absent. So those students have been marked absent. Now if I wanted to email mom and dad, let them know that they weren't there, I touch on the three dots, and I select this bottom option of message absent students. And I'm not going to do it right now because we haven't arrived at that day. So what else can this app do besides mark attendance? So if I wanted to look at the individual profile of a student or the status of an individual student, I go ahead and touch on their name. It will bring me to their attendance. I can see where they're at in their reading. And lastly, I can look at their profile. First, I can find the contact information at the top. At the very bottom, I can find out the ecclesiastical information. If I wanted to send the bishop a message, I merely touch the email, and then I could go ahead and send the email straight from the app. Now readings, let's take a look at readings. So here in readings, I have entered in to my readings in Wise 16 separate things for them to be able to mark off, and you can see those here. So a teacher can select one at a time. So the second reading, I can go ahead and I can mark students off that I've read. I hope to never have to do that. I want my students to get into the habit of doing that. If I need to mark all of them quickly, I touch the 3 dots and mark all reading done. And it will update that. So as a teacher, if I need to mark them quickly, I could do that. Again, I want my students to be able to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this from the role of a parent. To switch my role, I'm going to touch the gear, and I'm going to switch to seminary. If you have an Android, it's 3 lines that allow you to switch roles. I'm going to touch seminary, and from this point you can see the students that should be your son or your daughter. Here, I have 2 sons in seminary this year. If I touch on their individual record, it will bring for me all the things that we have been putting into attendance. So their readings, their attendance, their assessment scores, and any class details. I can email the teacher directly here at the bottom. If I want to see what readings they have completed, I touch on that, and I can see as a parent that they haven't marked off some of their reading, and I can mark off reading for my student if they don't have a device. Attendance. Looking at attendance, I can touch on attendance, and I can see they were absent on a particular day. I can touch on that, and if a support specialist or a coordinator or a teacher have entered information into schedule details, and there's a separate video with suggestions on that, you can see makeup work has been put in for the student. So the teacher doesn't have to go back and say, what did we really study that day? And then tell the student. It's right here with instructions where to find it and what to do. And so that's an easy way to help students with the makeup work that they might need to do. So that is the view from a parent standpoint. So I've logged in with a student's LDS account username and password. That username and password needs to be tied to their membership for everything to link up well. So it's just exactly what the parents can see. The readings, the attendance, the assessment scores from this year. If you're interested in past years or progress towards graduation, you can tap on that in the bottom. It will bring up information regarding that, and you can see attendance and assessment and reading information for each of those things. Students can also look at their own profile as well as family contact information under the profile button. Students will want to mark their own reading here by marking off the individual readings as they go along. A best practice would be to have them log into this at least weekly to mark off that progress. Let's go ahead and take a look at what my seminary looks like, as well as a little bit about myclass.lds.org. So from the myseminary.lds.org website, just wanted to give you a view of that from the role of a student and parent. Student and parent will see the same things here. I've logged in as a parent here. You can see attendance and readings and exam scores. Again, I could mark off the readings here. If I go back home, I can see attendance, and obviously this student of mine needs to do better with attendance. The only thing that myseminary.lds.org allows that the new LDS Seminary and Institute's app is this at the bottom where it talks about gospel study. Gospel study is what you're going to be doing in class, which is different than what you record here for makeup work. And so here is something for makeup work. In the previous video you saw where to enter in the lesson numbers, and the lesson numbers will correspondingly show here, and the makeup will be shown when they are absent and need to do makeup work. So just quickly, I wanted to show you a little bit from this website of myclass.lds.org. Everything that the app does for marking attendance and communicating with students and all of those things I showed to you in the app. This does it as well, but the app is better. And the church is going towards the use of the app. The only thing that I find this particular website most helpful for is adding pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and click on a young man I know that does not have any pictures. Once you're on this page, you go ahead and touch on that little person icon. Touch on Take Photo. Take a photo of the student. Tap Use Photo. And voila, it will upload it to that particular spot. Now, this will also be in Wise as well, so it's a lot easier than uploading a photo to Wise. This is the easiest way to put the photo into an individual student's account in Wise. I've been told that sometime in the future, the app itself, the LDS Seminaries and Institutes app, will allow the adding of photos there. I hope this video has kind of walked you through the different options available with the different apps and why you want to use one versus the other. I'd love to hear any feedback regarding this video to make it better. Thanks.